you don't know, you're about to know right now. You're about to learn. Education. My name is Quindell Evans of BluePoetry.com. The word blue, the color is dream. Poet is the orator and scribe. Trees are what keeps us alive. BluePoetry.com. So right now I'm going to read the affirmation from the M.O.U.T.H book, Messages of Uplift, a self-help book that I published in order to allow us to self-reflect on how we're using our mouth, self-reflect on how we're using our words. If we're using our words to speak power, to encourage, to motivate, to inspire, for positivity, or using your words to complain, to think about negative things, to think about what ain't right, to gossip, and, just criticize heavily, too much of what's going on around you. But are you using your words to manifest positive, to manifest greatness? Or are you focusing on your goals? There's a lot of positive affirmations in this book. There's also a lot of questions, a lot of space for you to write and self-reflect so that you can focus on your goals, manifest your purpose, realize your purpose, reflect on what your purpose is, your value, your qualities, your principles, your morals, things like that. The M.O.U.T.H book, Messages of Uplift. Use your mouth to speak power. Use your mouth to speak love. Use your mouth to speak light. Use your mouth to speak leadership. Use your mouth to speak healing. Use your mouth to speak freedom. You feel me? So, affirmation for the day is, the differences of others does not make us separate. Because I accept it, it brings us together and connects us. The differences of others does not make us separate. Because I accept it, it brings us together and connects us. With that being said, we are all interconnected beings. We might not be going through the same experience, but we are sharing. We are definitely sharing, one experience. So it's a beautiful thing to enjoy life. You feel me? So the space I was in when I wrote that was pretty much I was having meetings every Tuesday at my crib, and we would invite people to the meetings. A lot of times we would talk about one topic, and everybody would have different views, or a few people have different views, and people would take sides and stuff like that. So we was having meetings, and a lot of these meetings pretty much is how I was able to manifest certain projects, to stick to certain projects, having meetings and talking about, oh, this is an idea I got. I got this game, a card game. When I first started the card game, it was on index cards. The meetings allowed me to be like, okay, now we got to step it up and print out some cards and package them and sell them. And then from the meetings also came the M.O.U.T.H book. You feel me? I started writing affirmations every day and sending them to the people at the meetings on a daily basis. Also from the meetings, the M.O.U.T.H book also came the Blue Poetry Handbook. We sat and made activities and lessons and lesson plans for each poetic element: metaphor, simile, hyperbole, rhyme, alliteration, repetition, personification, oxymoron, onomatopoeia, and all of those things. So, but the whole point is the differences of others. The differences of others does not make us separate. There was a lot of different people in these meetings, and we all had different opinions on some of the same things. And it's challenging to have a viewpoint and someone has a different viewpoint, and it's not about right or wrong, but it's just about having an open mind. So this affirmation is about having an open mind. I learned to open my mind a lot having these meetings, inviting different people by. It was pretty much just 2 or 3 of us who came to every meeting, but every other meeting we would invite other artists, other businessmen or other businesswomen, and mainly with artists. We're all artists, and we would come together and discuss projects. And at these meetings, it would be different opinions on the same thing. So I learned to open my mind. The differences of others allow me to open my mind and be more accepting to the fact that I'm not always right. I'm not always. I don't always know everything. I don't know nothing for real. I'm realizing like the more I want to do something, there's always more for me to learn. I feel like the key to success is to learn the specialized knowledge that it'll take you to do whatever you want to do. Everything has its own specialized knowledge. Every genre, every road, every avenue has a specialized knowledge that you can take, that you can learn and be prosperous if you utilize this knowledge in the correct way. So the differences of others does not make us separate. Because I accept it, it brings us together and connects us. I gotta accept the differences of others. Let me accept that someone has a different point of view from me. Someone has a different way of learning from me. Let me accept that someone, has a different lifestyle. They have different beliefs, culture. They function different, and it's not about being right or wrong, because we are all experiencing the same thing. We just have different views on the same thing. Like literally, if I look at a bird and see that the bird is flying, a bird might not necessarily know that it's flying. That flying, what we might call flying to a bird might just call it, like, bird might just know that it's traveling. It doesn't have an identity on the act of how it travels. Bird could walk, but it could also use its wings. We might call it wings. A bird might not call the wings that it has wings. It might not have that conscience. So like someone might be, for example, like a lot of the conversations we had where we had different viewpoints were surrounded around religion, spirituality, food, health, relationships, and this was allowing us to get to know each other. We all were there to talk about projects, and build on projects. Like I said, the M.O.U.T.H book came from these meetings. Blue Poetry Handbook came from these meetings. Pick Up Poetry came from these meetings. Drop and Give Me Fitness came from these meetings. Pick Up Job came from these meetings. The Pick Up Poetry board game came from these meetings. And many other projects, like just being consistent in my art came from these meetings. So those are all projects that I just named that I have available. If you guys want to find out, just hit me up or just follow me, and you'll see, if you go on my Instagram, Blue Poetry, you'll see how much I promote these things. Some of them I promote more than others, but yeah. So like these projects came from these meetings, but it's not just always about just talking about the project. Sometimes we got to get to know each other. We inviting people to meetings, and we want to get to know each other. We want to get to know how people feel about spirit, how people feel about food, how people feel about health, and what's people's perspectives on everyday things in life. Because when you get to know who you're working with, you get to work more efficiently. So we would debate about these things, and we will all have, many of us will have different points of views and different perspectives on spirit, spirituality, religion, food, health, and and relationships. And with that, it allowed me to open my mind. It allowed me to realize that differences of others literally brings me closer to someone else. Because if everyone was the same, then it would kind of be boring to be around everyone. It would kind of be boring to be around someone that I'm totally the same as. I kind of want to learn from you. I don't want you to always agree with me. I don't want you to always think I'm right. I don't want to always think you're right. That's not challenging. That's not pushing me. So like, it's good to have different perspectives. If someone saves money every month compared to someone who saves money every week, compared to someone who saves money every check, compared to someone who literally saves in increments every day, there's different ways you can learn how to manage your money. So when you surround yourself with people that function with money differently, you'll learn how to function differently with your money. If you was having money issues, you have problems saving, surround yourself with people who are more financially responsible, you might learn to become financially responsible. So like, if I'm surrounding myself with people who's financially irresponsible, then how can I learn how to be financially responsible around these people? How? So if I'm surrounding myself with people that's eating not healthy, how can I learn how to eat healthy? I will have to go somewhere and learn. You know, I can research it myself. I can learn how to be responsible financially myself. I can learn how to be healthy myself. But life is not about just being alone. It's about relationships. You know, so like before myself before I learned it's like how to be an individual. I had to build relationships first. When you were born, you're not born. We're not born as individuals. We're born literally as individuals. Like we're all interrelated within each other. So there's no real, like, I mean, it is a real thing as individuality, but it's it's connected to individuality. It's connected to interdependence. We're all interdependent on each other. You know, like no human can be born and just live and survive as an individual. Like when you're born, you're gonna have to build a relationship with a parent. Simple as that. Like you're gonna have to build a relationship with a parent, whether it's your mother, your father, stepmother, foster parent, whatever. Someone's gonna have to raise you, and that someone who's raised you is building a relationship with you, and that relationship has a lot to do with your perspective on things in life. So the differences that I have with the people in my life allows me to get closer to them, allows me to learn different things, allows me to expand my mind, expand, like how I perceive life, how I perceive the things, the values, the principles of life, how I perceive everything about life. The differences of others does not separate us because I accept it. It brings us together and connects us. A big part of it is accepting it. A lot of times we want to force our opinion on people. I was that way, and I always thought I was right. Like, I know this, and I know this, I know that. And I realized, like, I don't know nothing. Literally, like, I don't know. So, like, I'm learning that. Just let people have their point of view. I have mine. I learned what I could take from their point of view, apply it to myself, and I'm growing. Focus on growth. And as I'm growing and as I'm learning every day, I like to read at least 30 minutes a day. I'm realizing that my point of view is developing. It's changing every day. Like, I'm literally changing little and little every day. So, like, if you don't accept differences, then you'll never really change. You'll be kind of stagnant, So, like, I remember being stagnant for years. Like, my life has been, like, a series of the same cycles of mistakes and negative habits that were keeping me down. And when I began to reflect on it, literally, I started writing affirmations beginning of last year, and I published the M.O.U.T.H book the beginning of this year. After a year writing the affirmations, I realized, like, yo, this is really powerful. Like, this really works because it allowed me to build relationships with people. Affirmations allowed me to build relationships with people. Affirmations allowed me to build a relationship with my inner self. It allowed me to realize, like, yo, like, I don't know nothing. I'm not where I want to be because I am continuing to do the same things I know that's not taking me to where I want. In order to grow, I gotta do something new. I gotta do something different. I have to learn. So I begin to surround myself with different people. So, like, accepting that I'm not where I want to be, accepting that people are not like me, accepting that I'm not like others, accepting that I want to surround myself with different people, accepting that I appreciate people's differences is a part of what is going to allow me to grow. It's a part of what's going to allow me to grow. Relationships is life. Life is about relationships. Life is about building relationships with yourself, with the people in your life, putting your relationship with people first, because that is what's going to allow. I personally feel like that's what allowed me to grow. Like when I started building meaningful relationships with people, then I started realizing how much I can grow. You feel me?